You think Ron Howard is Hollywood's nicest guy? Think again. Behind that calm smile, the same one who we've seen for decades, hides a man who's quietly survived some of the most volatile personalities in Hollywood history. For over 40 years, he's been the peacekeeper, the gentle storyteller who brought us Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, and the Da Vinci Code. But even the kindest man in the room can be pushed too far. This is the untold story of 5 actors who tested his patience, his sanity, and sometimes his faith in filmmaking itself. They were legends, friends, heroes, and yet, one by one, they turned every movie set into a battlefield. Stick around, this one might just change how you see your favorite stars forever. And hey, if you love stories that show the chaos behind the calm, you might feel right at home here. Russell Crowe, the volcano on set. Once was enough. That's all Ron Howard ever said when asked about working with Russell Crowe again. It began beautifully. A Beautiful Mind was a triumph. 2 men chasing the same goal, truth through performance. But when they reunited for Cinderella Man, that creative bond turned combustible. Crowe didn't just act, he commanded. He walked onto set not like a performer, but like a general preparing for war. Every camera angle, every line delivery, every shaft of light, he questioned them all. During a boxing scene so intense that sweat fogged the lenses, Crowe suddenly shouted across the ring, "You don't understand the character's pain!" Howard froze, his face calm, his jaw locked tight. For a man known for his patience, that silence was louder than any scream. Crew members whispered it felt like watching 2 titans trying to outwill each other. Every day brought another clash, creativity turning into combat. After the film wrapped, Howard's exhaustion showed in every photo. When asked if he'd ever work with Crowe again, he didn't hesitate. Once was enough. But if Russell Crowe burned hot, the next actor was something else entirely. Chaos wrapped in green fur. Jim Carrey, the Grinch that broke Christmas. Ron Howard thought he was directing a Christmas fantasy. Instead, he stepped into a nightmare made of latex and ego. How the Grinch Stole Christmas should have been lighthearted. But Jim Carrey, a genius in chaos, spent 8 hours a day inside layers of suffocating green makeup. By the 3rd day, something inside him snapped. He lashed out at assistants, makeup artists, even Howard himself. During one infamous morning, he tore off the Grinch gloves, threw them at the wall, and shouted, "You try acting inside a rubber coffin!" The set went silent. Howard tried to calm him, but Carrey was past reason. He began improvising entire scenes, rewriting dialogue mid-take, and tossing pages of the script to the floor. One crew member later said, "It felt like walking on broken glass every day." Desperate, Howard called Universal's executives for help. The studio responded by hiring a Navy SEAL survival trainer. Yes, the kind who preps soldiers for torture resistance, just to keep Carrey from quitting. By the time shooting ended, Howard's eyes carried the weight of a man who'd aged 10 years in one winter. In interviews, he smiled politely and said, "Jim brought a lot of energy." Privately, he confessed the truth. The movie had nearly broken him. But the next actor didn't bring chaos. He brought control, and that turned out to be even harder to fight. Tom Cruise, When Passion Turned to War. Far and Away, 1992. Ron Howard, the calm director. Tom Cruise, Hollywood's unstoppable force. On paper, it was a dream. In practice, it was a storm. Cruise was at the height of his power. Top Gun, Born on the 4th of July, Days of Thunder. He demanded intensity in every moment, emotion in every breath. Howard, on the other hand, sought discipline, subtlety, patience, quiet truth. The two collided. During one rain-soaked sequence in Dublin, Cruise suddenly stopped mid-take, ripped off his gloves, and barked, "This doesn't feel real!" Howard stared back, calm as stone. "Real isn't about noise, Tom." The air went dead cold. The crew froze. Nicole Kidman, standing between them, tried to diffuse the tension, but it was like trying to stop thunder with a whisper. After that day, Howard quietly shot extra footage, backup angles, because he no longer trusted Cruise to give the same performance twice. Months later, when asked about the experience, Howard didn't hide behind diplomacy. Some people confuse passion with chaos. He never cast Cruise again. And if Cruise tested his patience, the next actor would tear right through it. Mel Gibson, The Duel on Ransom, 1996. 2 men at the top of their game, and neither willing to yield. Ron Howard expected professionalism. What he got was Mel Gibson in full control mode. Fresh from Braveheart, riding high on Oscars and ego. From day one, Gibson acted like a second director. He rewrote dialogue mid-scene, changed lighting setups, and barked suggestions to the crew. During one explosive meeting, Gibson slammed his script on the table and roared, "I know what the audience wants. I want an Oscar for it." Howard's response was ice cold, cutting straight through the room. "You're not the director of this one, Mel." The air froze. From that moment on, every shot felt like a standoff. Gibson refused multiple takes, claiming spontaneity was truth. Howard quietly filmed secret coverage in case Gibson sabotaged another scene. Universal executives flew in twice to prevent a full collapse. When the shoot finally wrapped, the exhaustion was visible. Howard later called Ransom the most draining project of my life. It succeeded at the box office, but the partnership died the second the cameras stopped rolling. Still, Howard wasn't done facing chaos, because what came next wasn't ego, it was legend, and it broke him in ways the others never could. Marlon Brando. The genius that became a nightmare. Every director dreams of working with Marlon Brando, the god of acting himself. For Ron Howard, that dream quickly became a curse. Brando arrived late to set, irritated before the cameras even rolled. He refused to rehearse, ignored direction, and demanded cue cards taped around the set because he wouldn't memorize lines. One afternoon, in the middle of filming, he stopped mid-scene, looked Howard dead in the eye, and said, "This dialogue is garbage. Rewrite it. Now." Then he wandered off to his trailer for 3 hours. When he returned, he announced his character needed a new accent. Nobody knew what he was doing. Cameras rolled anyway. Howard, usually patient and soft-spoken, finally cracked. He turned to his crew and said, "This isn't acting. It's sabotage." Weeks later, the project collapsed. The budget was gone. The studio furious. Howard humiliated. Years later, he would admit that Brando changed him forever. The man he'd admired most had shown him the darkest side of genius. I learned never to confuse brilliance with chaos again. And when that storm passed, Hollywood's calmest man walked away from the wreckage. Wiser, colder, but still standing. 5 actors, 5 battles that nearly broke the man who built his career on calm. Russell Crowe's temper, Jim Carrey's madness, Tom Cruise's control, Mel Gibson's ego, Marlon Brando's chaos. Each one left a scar. Each one changed how Ron Howard worked, trusted, and led. In the end, he learned that kindness doesn't mean weakness. It means knowing when to walk away before the fire burns too deep. Hollywood often mistakes loudness for leadership, but Howard? He proved that real power lives in restraint. If stories like these fascinate you, maybe you belong here with us, because behind every calm face, there's a story that's anything but. And if you want to see what really happens behind Hollywood's perfect smiles, well, you know where to click.